Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco, Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. And it's just Marco here once again. I filmed a very fun and funny Easter commentary yesterday, and I did this fun thing where I ate a jelly bean out of 40 random flavors, and I tried to guess which one it was for the whole movie, and I did Ginger Dead Man, but I gotta be honest, I started editing, and then and I'm just not in the mood to edit anymore. I just wanted to film this video instead, and then finish editing and put the commentary up on Wednesday. So I'm sorry about that. It's getting a bit late too, and we sort of have something planned today, so multiple things planned actually. But anyways, I am here to review a very fun book, Goosebumps book, of course, although I just reviewed a memoir yesterday by Charles Band, which was pretty funny. I speed read that book. I sped and read that book, the second half, in one day. I did it in a couple hours yesterday because I just wanted to get it over with. It was like a painful thing because the book was not what I expected. On the contrary to that, this book was what I expected for the most part. Attack of the Jack-o'-lanterns, it was very, very good. I liked this book a lot. I thought that it was a very pleasant surprise. I listened to this on Halloween day, which was very fun as well. I made some cinnamon apple pancakes, special Halloween pancakes, and it was so fun to listen to this book on Halloween. And the story is basically the episode story. I mean, the episode really doesn't leave out much. That's what's funny, is that this is one of the ones where the episode is closer to the book. And guess what? I really like both of them, but this one does have a few differences. There are some backstory flashbacks. They have these really cool backstory segments, which I'll get into, and then later on in the book, there's a couple of differences. Like, I remember in the book, at one point, I think they try to go get a policeman who's like on the street patrolling, and then I can't remember what happened next. But this book was this book was really, really good. I really liked this book. Like, I don't know how many times I can say that, because I don't know, like, after reviewing so many Goosebumps books where I'm like, that wasn't good enough, that could have been way better, I was glad to finally read one where I can definitively say, like, yeah, I really like this book. It's basically all about Drew and Walker, and I'm sorry if I'm a little weird today. It's just, it's a weird day, it's a Monday and everything, and it feels like a Monday too, and so I'm a little off today. And it's about Drew and Walker, and they want to get back at Tabitha and Lee, who are two piece of shit bullies who they did some really, really over the top pranks on them. And I loved the first part of this book is basically just setup for the main plot, where you see why stuff happens in the rest of the book. You see why everything happens the way it does, because you see they play some horrible pranks on them on Halloween. At one time, they're having a party at Drew's house, and not Shane and Shauna, sorry, they're their, like, friends or cousins or something. I can't remember which one in the book they are. But Lee and Tabitha, sorry, so many names. Lee and Tabitha, they pretend that they're burglars and come into this party and basically hold them hostage. I mean, it's really dark, and that's something that I loved about this book, was how R.L. Stine kind of mixed in like real life scares and sort of flipped them on their heads like, oh, it's okay, it's just a prank by the bullies, but it's still really bad, but, at least it's not the real burglar thing, at least they're not actually burglars. And then they did another prank on them, and then also Drew wanted to play a prank, and she had like this whole plan where I think she had like a trap door, and Shane and Shauna gave them like this goo, and then the goo melted through their couch or something. That's what I read on the summary. I can't remember for sure because I read a long time ago. I read this book, and so I can't remember all the details, but I love just the setup of having these different Halloween scenarios. It's basically equivalent to, if you guys listen to my Phantom of the Auditorium reboot pitch, it's a lot like how I suggested for them to have the first part of the book be a bunch of different like vignettes of the Phantom trying to get the play made in different eras, and he has to basically sit back and watch time go by and see the kids of each era and see how things change throughout time, and to try to get the play made every 10 years or something. And I thought that was like what he did in this book. So if R.L. Stine is listening, or if someone who knows him is listening, if this would be the exact type of thing that I would want to happen in that Phantom of the Auditorium reboot. This is what he could do. That he could do it really easily. And so after all that setup, which I really liked, you get to the main plot, which is they want to go trick-or-treating. Halloween is a big deal for these kids, but there are some adults missing in the area, and Drew and Walker have to go in a group. And so they agree to go with Lee and Tabitha because Shane and Shauna are going to pull the prank this year. And basically, they're met with these two jack-o'-lantern people, and they're forced to trick-or-treat all night long, and it is hell. It is absolutely a nightmare, and they're eating all the candy too, so they're like puking it up, and like it's really intense. And we think that, like, is this a prank? Is this real? What is this? What is going on? It's really scary at some points. But I will say that a downside is that it gets a little repetitive. Like, there's only so many times you can keep on doing and we were forced to walk around the neighborhood trick-or-treat again, and we were forced to walk around the neighborhood and trick-or-treat again, just doing that over and over. I really wish that he had added more variety to it, like maybe there's a neighbor who got really concerned for the kids, and so they called the cops or something like that. Like, some interesting things to happen. And then they trick-or-treat in like a whole jack-o'-lantern neighborhood, and basically what ends up happening is that the bullies get scared away, and then the aliens, the Pumpkinheads, they reveal they are aliens, and they are Shane and Shauna, and they are also the people who are responsible for killing those adults that were missing. And I love the twist. I thought that's a great twist. I thought it worked really well with the story. It wasn't forced. It wasn't silly. It wasn't goofy. It was very well done. And overall, I just love the book. I love how Halloween-y it feels. Like, this is the ultimate Halloween-y book that I probably ever read. Like, this is just a love letter to Halloween. And I love Halloween. It's probably my favorite holiday of the year. And I think I've only ever had like one bad Halloween, and it wasn't because of anything around me at all. It was because of this bitch in England. And but that's it. Every other Halloween I've loved. Halloween's a great holiday. It's a lot of fun. It used to be like just so much fun trick-or-treating, and just the nostalgia that brings of just remembering trick-or-treating and all that stuff. it's very fun. It's a very fun book, and it's a really good plot. I mean, wouldn't you love to, if you were still trick or treating and you have bullies that ruined your Halloweens? Wouldn't you love to like force them to trick or treat all night? And it's just such a fun premise, and I just love this book. Like I don't know what else to say. Like, it's just so good. It's so engaging, and it's very descriptive, like talking about the types of candy they get, the costumes. What's not to love? What's not to love in this book? The one thing that I'd love to see if they made a sequel is I would like to see Shane and Shauna's planet, and I would like to see like their version of Halloween, because they go to the jack-o'-lantern neighborhood. I don't know if that was just a hallucination or what, but I'd love to see like what about Shane and Shauna's home planet? Wouldn't that be cool to see like a Halloween on Shane and Shauna's planet? And then maybe they could do the reverse. They could have it where humans like wreck their Halloween, and they have some sinister plan, to contrive like this really scary Halloween for the aliens. Maybe there's like a government plot to take over Shane and Shauna's planet, and they do it on Halloween. And so, I don't know. I mean, I'm just pitching just random things, but overall, I love this book. I give it an A. I don't regret it at all. At first, I thought I might give this a lower grade in the future, because it does get repetitive. I was starting to get kind of fed up with reading about, okay, we trick-or-treated around that neighborhood, and then we went to that neighborhood, and we did it over and over and over and over. It just goes on, and it's like, just add a little variety in here and there. Have some. That's another thing, is that I think in the episode I really like the characters more. In the book, although they love Halloween, I guess that's their characters, I really don't know a lot about Drew and Walker, and I really wanted to have like some engaging, interesting conversations between them and the bullies, because they're very different types of people. They're very different. They're both kids, though. They have similarities, but it would be really nice to like see that intensity of like, what if you had to trick or treat with your bully? What types of cool conversations would you have, and like about your different views and things? And it doesn't have to be like mature, like adult type of conversations, but it just seems like a missed opportunity there, to get some depth into these characters, and to find out like, why did they hate each other? Stuff like that. Sort of like in The Breakfast Club, the conversations they have in that movie are kind of forced, but, you have like Ferris Bueller, the conversations in those, like when they had, that car scene at the end of Ferris Bueller's Day Off, where Cameron is talking about like he's just gonna let his dad see the car, and he doesn't care, and then he destroys the car. Like, that scene is just, the dialogue is like 100% perfect. And if we had just had a couple of like maybe conversations with the bullies and the main kids, it could have been like really, really good. But the Pumpkinheads, I think they wouldn't even let them talk or something. Like, I can't remember though, but I don't know. I think that would have been really good. But still, I really enjoyed this book, and I really liked it after reading so many mediocre books in the Goosebumps series. I was glad to read this one. And it is not as good as Monster Blood, but it is close. It is up there. It is right next to Monster Blood. So, please like this video, comment, tell me what you thought about Attack of the Jack-O'-Lanterns. I prefer the book to the episode, too, which that's a rare thing, too. The episode, they had this really weird thing at the beginning where they they had a little exposition dump where they just told you about the burglar thing and they didn't even show you. I thought that was really shitty. And then please subscribe to our channel if you'd like to see more Goosebumps book reviews. Goodbye, everybody. See you soon.